Hello, everyone. I've been exploring intermittent fasting, especially how it affects women in their 30s and 40s. The problem, there is so much conflicting advice. Some experts say it's bad for women, others say it's amazing. So, what is the truth? In this video, I will show you how I use the Gemini's deep research and Gem features to cut through the noise and create a simple, personalized plan along with a journal template. And the best part, you can try this too, even on the free tier. Let's dive in. Okay, guys, as you can see, I'm on the Gemini homepage. And again, proves that I'm not having a pro plan because it asked me to upgrade. And so our action plan is step one, we're going to use this tool called Deep Research to help us formulate research documentation. And then that documentation is going to be saved to our Google Drive. If you have a Google account, you will have a Google Drive. And then it's going to, that documentation is going to reference in our gem. You can see gems here. We can create our custom gem here. It's going to be referenced by our gem. And then that gem is going to be our go-to well-studied intermittent fasting coach specializing in females. Okay, let's go back to chat. And so we're gonna, because we're free tier, we're gonna go with 2.5 flash. We're gonna select deep research. And also, I don't know if you guys know, but there are two experts with PDF file that I want to upload as a reference. The first one is Intermittent Fasting for Women, and that is by Megan Ramos. And then the other one is just Intermittent Fasting Research by Jason Fung. And now I also have this research prompt template that I created just to making sure everything is grounded in science. And I basically explained the role, and I also talked about the goal, and then also kind of go in details on the steps the model need to follow, so that way there's no hallucination and it's all science-backed research. And I also kind of cover some topics that I'm interested in, like longevity and then also hormone regularity as women. And then I'm not going to go into detail on this prompt, but since it's not prompt engineering video, but just kind of, gives an output of like the summary, kind of like format of the output, and also talked about needs to limit to 5,000 words with citations. And now let's go submit. And so this will take a little bit time because Gemini is going to form a research plan. Okay, in a few seconds, now we can see Gemini create this well-planned research. So it talks about going to analyze the documents using the two PDFs. It's going to find peer review research. It's going to investigate, effects on the cortisol and thyroid because, fasting is a stressor. And just everything looks very nice. And so I'm going to just say start research. And this is going to take a little bit of time because as you can see, you can, in this tab, open it up. There is the show thinking and sites browse. It's going to browse a lot of websites and it's going to go through a set of steps, in the research plan. So we will check back in I would say 5 to 10 minutes. During this time, you can go do anything else. You can also just look at the sites browse, the thinking process, or, you can go off to another task. I will see you guys in a bit. All right, after about 5 to 10 minutes, as you can see, our report is ready. And you can see it's a very well documented reference documentation that it talks about kind of the components that I specify to include in the prompt, like the menstrual cycle, PCOS, cortisol, stress, and thyroid function. And also, let's see if it has all the citations and look at all the websites it used. If it definitely looks like something would take me probably weeks, and now it's only done in less than 10 minutes. And so let's first export this to Google Doc. And the reason we want to do this is that way I can reference this in Gem when I create our custom Gem. And so now this will be in your Google Doc, in your Google Drive. And so as you can see, it's a very well researched documentation with a lot of information that even touched about safety, implementation, best practice for women. Okay, so now another cool feature that I'm going to use is I like to walk for steps. And so one of the things I like to do is listen to podcasts. So what's amazing is you can say audio overview. And what that does is it's to create a two-way conversation podcast. And so while this is being generated, let's now move on to Gem. So Gem is basically your custom GPT. So you say click new Gem and you can specify name. So we can just say intermittent fat. I can't spell intermittent fasting coach, right? And then we are going to have this well-crafted gym instruction because your instruction is actually very important. That's what separates this from other gym and other base model. Basically, it talks about what the expert is. So it acts as what we call system prompt for our Gemini models. And then it kind of talks about like the core functionality and then making sure it's, not hallucinating. Okay, so now we're also going to add the knowledge portion. And for the knowledge portion, again, we can select from a local file or we can add from a drive. So I'm going to select the document that was just created in Gemini. And so now we basically can just click save and use this gem. But let's just do some quality control. So I'm going to ask a very simple question and see what Gemini says because this should be definitely a no answer. So let's see. So if I ask, I heard IF can reverse menopause. Is this true? Let's see what does it say. And it talks about review of fasting, menopausing can be a beneficial tool for managing and shows okay. So basically it's talking about it can offer a promising approach for managing, but it's not to reverse. So that looks very scientific, something that we can definitely trust. And now let's also ask about I do intermittent fasting if you are in CrossFit. And let's see what it says. So it talks about no one size fits all. And it talks about using the document that doesn't provide, so it shows transparency of not having that information. And so yeah, so basically it looks very well trusted because we'll talk about medical supervision. So now we can say we are safe. And so now we can start chatting. But before we using the coach, let's also checking our overview. Let's see the audio overview is ready. You can click download here and to listen to it by adding to a playlist. And so now let's go back to our intermittent fasting gym. I'm also gonna pin this so I can quickly refer to this. So now for my goal, I want the Gemini to create a routine for me. So let's see. So I said I'm a female in my 30s. I would like to start practicing intermittent fasting. Can you create a routine for me? And I give an overview of my current schedule and also asking for a journal template to keep track along with my menstrual cycle. See what does it say. And it started talking about the initial phase of 1 to 2 weeks and 3, so it's about 28-day cycle, and it talks about adaptation phase and menstrual cycle. Let's see. It does a very good job of saying, okay, your follicle phase, which is the first half of your period, and then the second half. And then it gives a very nice journal template that you can export to your Google Sheets. And then also allows you to have adjustments, like it recommend your fasting window and eating window. So kind of gives a kind of actionable plan, right? So talked about 12 to 12 for the initial phase and then 14 to 10 for the intermediate phase. And then move on to 16 to 8 which was 8 to 4 p.m. So everything looks very solid, and I can export this sheet to Google Doc, to Google Sheet. And yeah, so I will, use this plan, and then I'm probably gonna go back and forth asking questions with this gem to get most scientific updates and research advice while practicing intermittent fasting. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and hopefully find it helpful.